All right. Hello, everybody. If Randy, you want to come into frame as well.
Shoulder.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. I have Fox 35's Randy Hildreth with us this morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about the heat during this stream. I'm filling in for TJ. He's on vacation, so we're going to talk about the heat because it is an impact day today and tomorrow, and also Tuesday because it is going to be pretty hot and humid. So that's what's going to be one of the bigger takeaways here over the next couple of days. But I think my camera is following me around a little bit, so if you want to scoot in a little bit more, Randy, get comfortable. There we go. But yeah, did you notice how humid it was when you got outside this morning?
It was, and one of the things that you were talking about this morning, what is it, the Saharan
dust, yeah.
And I was wondering, my allergies were just bothering me, and as soon as you started talking about it, like ding, 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 okay, we have figured out what's going on.
So yeah, it's very hazy outside. I noticed it too. Oh gosh, it looks like we cannot hear me. Let's try this again. Hopefully you can hear me now. I see levels, so we should be in good shape now in terms of audio. So this is one of my first times doing this by myself, by the way. So if you're watching, I appreciate any sort of leniency.
Space for grace.
Yes, I love that, space for grace. But I do want to talk about the forecast in terms of what we're seeing, because it's dry too. If you have any sort of plans today, hopefully it's going to be near a body of water. So hopefully you'll have a way to stay cool out there, because it's going to be hot and very humid.
And
But thank you so much, Randy, for joining me. I'm going to dive into the forecast.
Absolutely.
I will dive into the forecast here, and we will get going. And I see levels, so hopefully you can hear me audio-wise. So I think we're in good shape. And we've got our digital manager, Josh. He is texting me. So if you see me looking down at my phone, that is why, to make sure we're in tip-top shape. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what to expect as we head over the course of the next couple of days, because we are talking about the Saharan dust. It has been a factor here over the last couple of days. You've noticed it's probably been a little hazy outside, and that's really going to be helping to keep the tropics pretty quiet. But we're also going to be seeing just haziness. It might be disrupting your allergies, might reduce air quality a little bit too, especially once we factor in some of the heat and humidity out there. That's not going to really help a whole lot. So in terms of what we're going to be expecting here over the course of the next couple of days, it's essentially more of the same. So let's go ahead and take the graphics full. All right, there you go. So you can see the graphics here, and we're going to be expecting temperatures that are going to be, yes, hot for this time of year, but we're also going to be expecting a heat advisory to continue. I'm just going to double check. Okay, audio looks good. Great. We are going to talk about the heat advisory, so let me go ahead and pull that up for you. Let's see. All right, so you can see, yes, we have Saharan dust, and I'll get into that here in a moment, because I did want to show some cameras and let you know about this heat advisory too. So in terms of the radar, we're dry. That's going to be a big takeaway here for today. We're not going to have a whole lot in the way of precipitation to work with, but this is a live view of our Lake Mary Tower cam, and I wanted to pull this up because we do have quite a bit of haziness outside. You can really see it from this camera in particular, and from many of our cameras as well. And so, oh gosh, it looks like the mic is no longer hot. Let's see. So sorry, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. I think you can. But yeah, we're going to be expecting hot and humid temperatures over the next couple of days, as we've been mentioning here, and that's why we have the Fox 35 weather impact days on the way for not only today, but tomorrow and into our Tuesday as well. So that's, what we're going to be expecting in terms of heat, humidity. It's going to be dangerously hot at that. So just make sure, I was kind of saying it earlier this morning, if you were watching, just make sure you are checking on your neighbors, the elderly. If you have breathing issues, just give yourself lots of time and breaks outside, and you'll be in better shape in terms of, just making sure you're staying cool in safe from the heat. All right, so let's go ahead and show you a couple of other cameras, and then I'll quickly get into things because we're already heating up pretty quickly. So yeah, you can see how hazy it is outside from a number of our cameras. This one looks a little bit better. This one looks like we're seeing a little bit more in the way of some blue sky out there, which is always nice to see, which it is going to be pretty dry here over the next couple of days. Believe it or not, it is a rainy season still. I mean, gosh, last week, it just really poured when it rained. I mean, we had multiple inches fall. I know at my house in particular, it was almost like a flooding rainfall. But in terms of temperatures, it is 10:36 and we are already heating up in a big way. So we're at 87 right now at the time of this video, so which is again 10:36, 87 right now in Orlando. We're at 88 in Sanford, 87 in Titusville, up to 90 already in Claremont. So you get the idea. It is already a steam bath out there. And if you're looking for ways to stay cool, I say the pool. That's one of my favorite ways to stay cool out there, not no rhyming and pun intended, of course. But we're going to be seeing a heat index anywhere from around 107 to 111 today specifically. A couple of spots could be even hotter than that. So it's really important that if you're going to be heading out to say the beaches or the pools, for one, wear sunscreen. Two, you might have to stay and you might have to stay in the water versus laying out and lounging by the pool. I know that's a very popular thing to do, but yeah, you're probably going to have to get in the water. Otherwise, you're just going to be too hot out there, and we start to approach dangerous levels. I went out for dinner last night, and we were trying to sit outside because it had a shorter wait, and it was just way too hot. There was like a little bit of a breeze at times, but I mean, it was even around 6, 7 o'clock, it was still just like sweltering out there. It's like immediate sweat, so not ideal. But again, it's going to continue to get hotter. Your best bet in terms of finding relief in terms of the heat will be to go out earlier in the day or after sunset tonight, which sunset is not until after 8 o'clock, so you'll have to wait a while. But 95 is what we can expect for 1 o'clock, and then 95 as well for 4 o'clock, and we'll see a high today around 3 p.m. of 97 degrees. So it's going to be pretty toasty out there. I do also want to talk about this because this is something, if you don't know already, I really love animals, and I have 2 adopted pets as it is. They're cats, so I don't have any dogs. I have grown up though with mini dogs, so if you have too, feel free to let me know if you're watching in the comments. But we are going to be expecting dangerously hot temperatures for our pets too, so just make sure you're not leaving them outside for too long. They don't cool off and they don't breathe the same way we do. So if you're going to be walking them, especially the little pads of their paws, that is how they breathe. 9 times out of 10 for most dogs, that's how they're able to breathe. And we don't want them to suffer any sort of burns, because if it's, especially blacktop, asphalt, that is like those are some of the hottest temperatures we can feel in this type of heat and humidity. So it is super, super important that you make sure you're at least touching the pavement. Odds are it's going to be really hot. So your best bet is to walk them in the grass for a short span of time, or do so very early in the morning when, yes, it's still pretty warm, but it's not dangerously hot, and they're not going to risk burning their paws, because that's the best way to stay cool, and you don't want them to get injured, of course. So just a couple of takeaways for you. 97 will be our high today, as I mentioned, around 3 o'clock. So I would definitely just avoid being outside unless you're going to be like in the water at the pool or the beach or in the lake, whatever it might be, because it's going to be hot out there. We also have the Orlando Farmers Market. It has already started. It started at 10 o'clock, and it usually lasts through about 1 or 2 p.m. It's at Lake Eola. And so last time I tried to go to the Orlando Farmers Market, it poured rain. I was not happy. I'm a meteorologist, so I should know that. And I thought I could sneak by with getting away with going out and, avoiding the shower, but I did not. Sometimes as meteorologists, we do as I say, not as I do, or whatever the saying is, you know what I mean. But we're going to be expecting temperatures to continue to heat up. So your best bet, again, is to head out sooner rather than later, because temperatures will be hot by the time things are wrapping up. We've got a lot of sunshine, too. I know we've got Saharan dust, as I mentioned, but yeah, it's just still going to be really hot out there. So a really important reminder to make sure you're heating heeding the warnings and the caution. And if you have things like asthma or emphysema, it makes it a little harder to breathe. I even noticed my allergens today. I don't have too much in the way of allergies, but I have noticed today, like, my eyes are a little more watery and just like not as clear as they normally would be, and also a little more sniffly than usual. So if this could very well be one of the reasons why, if you were like allergic to dust specifically, that's where you can run into some problems. So this is that live view of Lake Fairview this morning. And again, the big takeaway for today is going to be the heat. So we have a heat advisory until starting at noon today until 7 o'clock for all of Central Florida. And essentially what this means is, yes, I know it gets hot in Florida. That we all know. It is late July, but this is even going to be pretty hot by Florida standards. We're going to be approaching the upper 90s for many spots, and we're going to be expecting feels like temperatures in the low 100s, potentially approaching the 1-teens. I think that's a word, but you get the idea. So approaching, say, 112, 113, especially tomorrow, but I think 110 to 111 is what we're going to be seeing today in terms of the heat index. So that's once we factor in the humidity, which we'll talk about that here in a moment. But bottom line, noon to 7 o'clock, that is going to be the time frame of when the hottest of the temperatures are going to be taking place. And that's when we're really going to see those 90s take off as well. And so as we look ahead towards the next 12 hours, this is what we can expect. So we're going to continue to see temperatures climb into the mid-90s, potentially as early as like 1 o'clock. Would not be shocked if we made it up to around 93 degrees by 1 o'clock. 95 by 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, 96 degrees, and 97 by the 4 o'clock hour. So it is going to be just a hot, humid day. I'm running out of words to describe how hot and humid it's going to be, and around a 20% chance of rain as well, which we'll talk about the rain chances in a moment. They're going to be pretty few and far between for today. So when it comes to our high temperatures, those are going to be ranging low 90s, low to mid 90s across the coast, near the beaches specifically. We will have an east coast sea breeze, but we've got enough dry air to where it's not going to really help to fire off too much in the way of shower and thunderstorm chances. So we're going to be pretty dry, but we'll see a high of 97 in Orlando, in Bithlo, as well as Sanford, DeLand. A couple of spots have been showing signs of reaching closer to the upper 90s, say 98 degrees in the villages, Ocala, even Gainesville, Claremont. But the beaches will be just not quite as hot, but it's still going to be very humid. You're probably not going to notice a huge difference versus if you're at the beach. I will say, though, I feel like being on the water, it helps. The sea breeze is going to be not the strongest today, but any little bit helps, right, when it comes to staying cool out there. So let's talk about the feels like temperatures, because this is, again, where it really starts to hurt and is where it becomes dangerous when it comes to the humidity. And I'm going to actually pull up Facebook Live on my phone as well, so I can look at some of your comments. So if you want to leave a comment, by the way, please do so, and I will do my best to get back to you and maybe read off some of those comments for you. Looks like we have Drina watching from Detroit, Michigan. Wow. Lenny says it's Florida. I know, it is Florida. It gets hot in Florida. I know, but this is going to be, dangerously hot levels. Especially, we have so many visitors here. I want to, mention that too. We have lots of people who are in town from areas further north. Most likely, most people are here from areas further north where it just doesn't on a regular basis get very hot. So their bodies already aren't, super used to it. And once we factor in even hotter temperatures, where us Floridians aren't even quite accustomed to it all the time, it can approach dangerous levels. So again, just be mindful of listening to your body, I would say. I know there are so many people who work outside, and you don't have the option of being indoors. So if you're going to be outside today, just hopefully you'll be able to take lots of breaks in the air conditioning. Staying hydrated is going to be a big key player, but you can't fight off the heat by just being and staying hydrated. So it's really important you find some cooler air and some shade. Things like that will be some really big key players. But when it comes to heat exhaustion and heat stroke is a lot more dangerous, but heat exhaustion can lead to heat stroke. You want to make sure that you are listening to your body, as I mentioned. If you start to feel lightheaded, if you start to feel a little nauseous, queasy at all, those are some of the big key players. And hey, I need to settle down a little bit. I'm maybe overworking myself, and you don't want it to get to the point of where you need to be hospitalized or anything like that. So it's big reminder to just take it easy out there. I know it's easier said than done, and I know it probably seems very obvious, but it can sneak up on you. I mean, I was just quite literally sitting outside last night. It wasn't even the hottest of the day, and it was just immediate sweat, just sitting down, not even doing anything. So, yeah, if you're going to be out for a run, things like that, I know we have lots of runners here at Fox 35, so I always think of them. And then there's lots that exist in Central Florida. So if you're going to be out running, it's I would recommend doing it ASAP before it gets even hotter, or otherwise you're probably going to have to wait until later on this evening. But it's still going to be pretty humid this evening too. But bottom line, our heat index, the feels like temperature, it's going to be anywhere from, say, 108 to 111, maybe 112 for a couple of spots. And again, it's going to be mostly dry too, so we're not going to have a whole lot in the way of rain to help us out and cool us off. So looking at our future clouds and radar, the showers and storms today are going to be very few and far between. This is quite literally the definition of isolated rain chances. And I know some people, I've actually had friends ask me before, like, what does isolated mean? It means essentially these showers and storms are going to be spaced really far apart. They are, we're not going to be seeing widespread all-day rain. This is going to be drier than usual for us. It is the rainy season, and I typically tell lots of friends and family who are visiting, it rains basically every day in Florida. And while it is going to rain today, it's just not everyone's going to see the rain, and it's only going to rain for a short span of time, just enough for it to cool it off for a couple of minutes and then heat right back up. So that's a big takeaway. And really, it looks like as of now, best chances of rain will be for areas along the north and west of I-4. And that's going to help to bring about a couple of clouds. Honestly, that's going to help out with the heat too, I feel like. Anytime you can see the sun peek behind the cloud, that's always very helpful on a day like this. But these downpours, few and far between, mostly for areas to the north and west of I-4. They'll start getting going by, say, 1, 2 o'clock. We'll see those isolated showers lasting all the way through, say, 4, 5, 6 o'clock today. And then you'll notice even by 6 o'clock, they're going to drift further to the west pretty quickly. And they'll likely be west of I-75 during the late afternoon, say 7 to 8 o'clock, I would say, probably at the latest. So we're going to have best chances of rain, Marion County, Lake, Sumter County, and maybe western sections of Orange County as well. That being said, can't rule out maybe a stray shower or two for far southern sections of Volusia and maybe Seminole as well. But I didn't see any rain at my house yesterday. It was honestly hardly even cloudy. So yeah, it's going to be pretty hot out there, especially where it does not rain, where we don't have the clouds. My plants definitely suffered yesterday. I didn't get around to watering them, so I'll have to do that today. But check out this view. I mean, gosh, look at how smooth the ocean, the Atlantic looks this morning. I mean, really beautiful. I love the beach. That's one of the big reasons I moved here. I love going to the beach. I love the ocean. I just love the atmosphere of being at the beach. And if you can tell just from this image alone, there are a lot of people in the water. And we do have a moderate risk of rip currents today, so if you're going to get in the water, which I think so many people are going to be today, especially with the waves being a little calmer, it looks like. There looks like a surfer there at the bottom left-hand corner. Oh, he did not hit that wave. That's okay. I do love watching the surfers, though. It's very cool. But keep in mind, we do have a moderate risk of rip currents, so just make sure you're swimming in groups, swimming near lifeguards, and never try to fight against the rip current. I think that's something that we tend to kind of lose sight of sometimes. Is one of the big reasons that they become deadly is because people panic, and the rip currents won't pull you under. They will just pull you out. So if you can swim parallel to the shore, that can a lot of times save your life and can help direct you out of the rip current, and so that way you can finally swim back to shore, because if you try and fight it, that's where a lot of people get exhausted and overexert themselves, and that's where we see a lot of the times it becomes deadly, because you get pulled out so far and you're trying to swim back and it's just too strong. But for today, we're going to be seeing just a moderate risk, but still, just be careful out there. Lots of people already in the water. Big takeaway. I tend to ramble. Can you tell? Okay, beach forecast, though, wave heights 1 to 2 feet. You saw it was pretty calm out there. Water temperatures are going to be right around 80 degrees. Some spots cooler than others, some spots warmer than others, but air temperatures are going to be in the low 90s, as I mentioned. It's going to feel hotter than that, even at the beaches. Rain chances, you should be in pretty good shape as far as rain at the beach today, but as always, a big reminder, if you hear thunder, you're within striking distance of a lightning bolt. And lightning is very dangerous. In terms of meteorology, it's one of the only things that actually does kind of scare me a little bit. I have been storm chasing. I've seen tornadoes. I have seen multiple tornadoes at that and many different types of thunderstorms. And lightning is still, that's the one thing you cannot predict exactly where it's going to strike. You can predict a thunderstorm where lightning will happen in terms of, a span of miles, but you can't predict exactly what spot it's going to strike. So that's why it's really important, if you hear the thunder, go inside. Don't hide under trees, because you can still have effects from the electric current of a lightning bolt. You can suffer burns. It can do a lot of damage. 90% of people do survive lightning strikes. I did look this up recently, but that doesn't mean you won't suffer in terms of injuries, right? So again, I know today is not going to be a big lightning day. In fact, heat is one of the biggest killers in the U.S. So that's why today is an impact day. I think we tend to lose sight of the fact that, yes, I know it's Florida, it's hot, but just remember to not leave your pets, your kids in the car if you can. My car in particular, it does have a setting where it will tell me if there's something in the back seat, which is really nice. I think that's really cool that some of the car makers have started to do that, and it will actually, my car will ding. It's like, hey, check the back seat. So that's pretty cool. And I don't have like a super fancy car or anything, so I think that's I love that car makers are doing that. But anyway, off subject. But when it comes to temperatures, we're going to be seeing highs again, not only today, but the next couple of days in the upper 90s. So tomorrow will actually likely be the hottest day of the next several. 98 degrees will be our high on Monday, a 20% chance of rain, around a 50% chance into Tuesday, a high of 97. So it's just going to be very humid the next couple of days. Tomorrow, though, it looks like we're going to have the hottest temperatures of the next several take shape. So it's going to be pretty hot and muggy out there. So just make sure you're being safe, you're being careful. Saharan dust, I do want to quickly talk about this, and I'm going to actually manually scroll through this, because we actually do have a plume of dust overhead currently. So again, as I mentioned at the start of this, if you're sniffling and sneezing, if your allergies are acting up, it's because we do have a little bit in the way of some of that dust overhead. But as we look ahead towards this week, we are going to be expecting for it to thin out a bit before we could potentially see another plume come into play. Now, we do have a large plume of dust that will roll off the west coast of Africa, and so it will help to kind of keep a lid on our tropical development and help to keep that drier air in place. But we're going to be watching August. There are some signs that things could start to light up in terms of the tropics, but it's still pretty early, and I'm very pessimistic when it comes to always, posting very far, long-range models when it comes to, and I just try not to, because there's so many things that models pick up on far out in advance and essentially becomes a ghost storm. It never happens. So I think that's a big takeaway when it comes to the tropics, is we will let you know when there's something of concern. As of right now, it looks like a couple of tropical waves will try to get going into early August, but there will be a good amount of dust and that's really been helping us out a ton this season. Really grateful for that, but we're not even close to the first half of the hurricane season, and the peak of hurricane season for us will come more so closer to fall, into say September, October. That's when we really start to see things heat up for us in particular. But as of right now, we're just going to keep a close eye on things. And again, we will let you know if there's anything of concern. As of right now, there are no chances of development. We did have that area of low pressure. It has since fizzled out, and just the leftover moisture has moved over parts of Texas. So yeah, that's what we saw that. So anyway, we have some dust overhead. It will thin out by the end of this week. Temperatures are going to stay hot. And rain chances will grow a little more typical at this time of year. As that dust thins out, that will allow for better chances of rain to try and take hold. Again, it's still going to be hot, mid-90s. Our usual high is 92. We're going to be around 95, 96 for Wednesday and Thursday, and then around 95 for Friday and Saturday. It's going to be really dependent on if a trough swings down, how far south it's able to swing. That would mean some better chances of rain, also some better feeling temperatures. I don't want to say cooler, but less hot, of course. And that is something we would be very grateful for when it comes to temperatures, right? I think summer is in full force, but hey, we haven't had very many heat advisories yet this year. The past couple of years, we've had like in upwards of like 20. So the fact that we're just now getting some, that doesn't mean it's not going to continue to be hot and humid. The National Weather Service has already mentioned we're probably going to have heat advisories for tomorrow and Tuesday as well. And so again, when we have those heat advisories, it's dangerously hot, and just be safe if you're going to be out there. But essentially that's the forecast. I've been looking at the comments on the Fox 35 Facebook page. I haven't seen a whole lot in the way of too many comments. Let's see, I'll try to check the Fox 35 Storm Team page as well, or actually, I think it's just the Fox 35 Orlando page we've got. So not too many comments, but thank you all for tuning in and joining me. This was, I appreciate the grace when it comes to also getting the audio levels fixed. So hopefully you'll see more of these from me in the coming future, and we'll get a little more accustomed to things. But as always, have a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there. Be sure to take care of yourself and your neighbors when it comes to the heat and humidity. Brooks is off this week. He is on vacation. He will be back the following Monday, so a week from this Monday. So don't worry, he's still here. But I will be in for Brooks this upcoming week. So you'll see a lot of me as we head into our Monday in the new work week. So, all right, that is going to be it for me, everybody. It was very fun joining you. But I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and a great work week. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early at 4 a.m. on Good Day Orlando.